And Microsoft, addressing the enterprise space with our database offerings, our data warehousing technologies, our ETL tools, reporting tools, dashboarding environments. We had all these tools, but we weren't effectively addressing that small, mid-sized business space either. But something rather unique happened about 5-6 years ago when Office 365 came into play. We were able to bring the core components of a BI effort to the subscription, to the affordable subscription model, and have it hosted in the cloud and ready to go. So we introduced Power BI a few years ago as an offshoot of Office, trying to centralize all the capabilities inside of the world of Excel and take advantage of the portal environment within SharePoint Online that was now available to small and mid-sized businesses in the form of SharePoint Online as a part of Office 365. And we started to realize we had what it takes to do this, to offer the power of BI, to simplify the process, to provide powerful tools that everyone was already familiar with, just with additional capabilities, to bring it to our partner community especially, not just the end customer, but the partner community, to give them the power of the tools to create their own IP in a cloud-centered marketplace. I know that sounds rather convoluted. I'm going to try to break it down for you as we move through this presentation and show you some quick demos as well. So that is Power BI in a nutshell as far as our opportunity. Let me move to the next slide. So we see it as a huge opportunity. This is a look at the entire marketplace, enterprise, mid-sized, small business. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with the marketing. Let's get right to the meat of the matter. I think most of us, if you're on this call, can agree that there is a huge untapped opportunity in SMB around BI. Just so few of our smaller and mid-sized customers are actually using it. So we've had Power BI now for a couple of years, and it's been an add-on to Office 365. It was a SharePoint add-on. It required a certain base amount of licensing to get that $33 per user per month add-on, which seemed kind of expensive, but Microsoft justified the approach to the market, and I think rightfully so, in assuming that not every user in an environment would be using it. Just like in a traditional BI deployment in a mid-size or enterprise space, you don't have every end user in a 10,000 person company using BI. You've got a small subset of 20, 35 end users and probably a collection of DBAs that are really involved directly with the technology, and then requests for reports or slices of the data are made by the end users to that team, who then goes in and gets the information. That barrier is what we're trying to remove, not only in the enterprise space, but also in how we're bringing BI to small and mid-sized businesses. So the way we're going to be evolving in the next iteration of Power BI, which is coming later this calendar year, no exact date yet, but we're a lot closer than people think, is we're not only evolving the licensing, we're evolving the model. As you can see there, as we move to the new offers that are coming later this year, we're going to enter a freemium business model with a much lower price point for the Pro license. And there'll be significant capabilities in the free environment, which I'll show you in just a little bit as well. It's no longer going to be an add-on SKU. Free will just be available for Office 365 users to start dipping their toes. But they shouldn't be doing this without your assistance. Not only do you have the knowledge of how they've designed their tenant and how they've rolled out Office 365, how they're potentially using SharePoint, how they might be using more advanced reporting in Excel, but you also understand the broader marketplace, so you can start to templatize views into data and share them as product, as solution on top of your existing Office 365 cloud practice. This is the means. Power BI is the means by which our partners can start to develop their own IP, how they differentiate themselves versus the next partner selling Office 365. This is a very powerful way to get there quickly. Understanding a marketplace, a demographic, a geo, a specific customer set, and their end customers, so that you can sell across different customers who are often competitors to each other. This is the means by which you can get at that kind of data, because oftentimes that data set is not just in their own CRM systems, in their own inventory and point of sale systems. It's also publicly available data. It's also data that's available on social networks that you can capitalize on to really differentiate your offerings. So, traditional way we've looked at Power BI is let's make Excel much more powerful. Let's make Excel the ETL, the extract, transform, and load tools that can go out to multiple data sources, whether on-premise for a customer or cloud-based or in the public domain through Dun & Bradstreet, geographical data, data that's published by local and federal government, so forth and so on, that's accessible. Let's give tools such as Power Query to capture that data, Power Pivot to create the model, and then Power View to then create an easy-to-use application for non-technical, non-power users to get access to the data to slice and dice it the way they want to. And let's make those tools available in Excel. Making them available in Excel gives a comfort in starting to use them, a familiarity with the user interface of one of the most used applications in the entire world over the course of the last 2 decades. That was the power of the initial release of Power BI, and that will continue to be a huge differentiator and a means by which you can differentiate your own practices around Office 365. Then we also offered the ability to share the intelligence that you discovered through your use of these power tools in Excel through the portal interfaces of SharePoint to create Power BI sites that had dashboarding capabilities in the form of an intranet for your end customers who are small and mid-sized businesses, not realizing that with SharePoint Online, a part of their Office 365 subscription, they've got the ability to create very powerful portals for sharing information and allowing end users or even customers to come in and slice and dice data that they want to expose with the necessary controls and enhance the value of their operations and of their sales. Then, of course, make it available through different methods of querying, such as natural language extensions in the portal, as well as providing mobile apps to smartphones and tablets and so forth for field-based employees. So a couple of different ways of looking at this. How do you create it, and then how do you share and collaborate on it afterwards, and how do you productize it? Well, as I mentioned, Excel was the traditional way we did that. So I'm going to actually, rather than spend a whole lot of time looking at a screenshot within a PowerPoint presentation, jump out to Excel to show you what we traditionally used. So looking inside of Excel, this is a mock analysis that we had created internally for demo purposes, and it's Power View. And if you can see the top of my screen, I apologize if you can't, but top of my screen I've got a couple of different new tabs that I've enabled within Excel. Power View, Power Query, and Power Pivot. Probably in the order of usage is Query to discover and connect to the source, Pivot to create the model, and View to create the application and report that is highly interactive. So here we are in the end result of a Power BI exercise. And we're gathering trends and data from multiple sources, from QuickBooks, from another ERP system such as Sage, combining that with demographic information that's available in a public domain, and we're getting a nice slice of how this end customer spends on IT. Now we're assuming a mid-sized business customer, it'd be a different view for different demographics, but here I've got a variety of ways I can look at how the sales team is effective and how our spend is in variance to plan over a course of a period of time. And you can see a variety of different views here. I can even look over the period of time as it changes. I can look at graphs by month in this fashion, or I can double click and drill into actual details or hover over to apply filters. And you can see in this Power View I've also got active filters over here on the right where I'm looking by default at all the different operations within a company, but I can also segment that out by a couple or by individuals, as you can see here, just manufacturing, for example. Real-time querying of the data. This is not necessarily cached, although you can have it do that as well, and you're making a real powerful application within Power View. Incredible capabilities that are very easy for end users to utilize. You're creating applications from the data, live views that can be published either in Excel or in PowerPoint, or even in HTML via the portal of SharePoint Online. And just a quick note to those of you who have not utilized these tools before, they are very simple add-ons to Excel 2013. And of course, we're going to have a little bit of slowness here with the network, so actually let me jump back to...
Sorry?
A little bit of slowness here with the network, so we're going to jump back to the presentation. I'll come back and show you how to turn on those COM add-ons within Excel in just a bit. So how are we evolving Power BI? we're going to be focusing much more. All the same capabilities will continue to evolve within the tools such as Excel, within Office 2013, or Office 365 Pro Plus as a part of Office 365. But there's going to be a much greater focus on dashboarding capabilities because we've made these dashboards much, much easier to create and disseminate. Live dashboards will be a significant focus of the new version of Power BI that's coming out later this year. The ability to dive into detail within HTML, within the portal, within Office 365 to gather insights in real time over a period of time, to utilize forecasting tools, to utilize natural language queries to get instant results. And it really is that fast, as I'll show you in the demonstration in just a second here. And again, I apologize for moving so quickly since we got a late start. But to also make it valuable right out of the box, we have now built connectors, which I'll show you, for a huge variety of SMB-focused application environments. So you can connect to these solutions, whether they're hosted in the cloud or whether their databases or data sets are on-premise, and instantly start driving value and building very compelling dashboards. And these are incredibly valuable solutions as add-on to the Office 365 subscriptions that you're positioning in your customer base, either existing customers or potential new customers. Adding this sort of intelligence and insight in such an impactful visual manner can really enhance your sales and allows you to charge much higher margin for your cloud services. And you can see a variety of them here, from Salesforce to Sage to Google and a variety of others, Intuit as well, that are directly associated with the SMB opportunity. So again, let me jump out here and show you a couple of demos that we have here within Microsoft's environment. So first one I'll show you, we have a mock company here called Worldwide Importers, and this is just for demo purposes, not actual live information. But all of these reports, as you can see, are generated and have a real-time component, such as you can see here within the revenue by product and city map report that's refreshing in real time in front of us. We even have analysis of populations and their purchase of product. And each one of these reports is highly interactive, as I can hover over California there and get the numbers, Nevada, so forth and so on, with different breakdowns of a view by demographics and stores for this particular company. And I can also view over a period of time. One that we actually have live that is a real dashboard view is an integration with Microsoft's own CRM environment, obviously running on Dynamics internally within Microsoft. And here we are connecting to CRM's social networking analysis tools, where we can monitor live social networking mentions in the public domain of our products and services. And this is actual live refreshing of data that we're seeing right here. Tweets on particular topics that are services or solutions from Microsoft. Incredible capabilities to dive into incredible detail just by hovering over these reports. And you can see not a lot of training here needed to get the insight you're after. Very compelling, and I can even utilize that natural language extension. How many tweets in Turkey? Instant answer right there. In U.S. See, real-time information that I can dive into in great detail and hover over these reports, pull them up in more detail to get different views, so forth and so on. Really nice way to look at the data. Now, if I want to add different sources, as I mentioned earlier, we have connectors out of the box. You can see this enormous number of selections here. If I want to work in the easy-to-use interface of SharePoint and HTML, I can connect right here out of the box with all of those different sources that I mentioned earlier, QuickBooks, Salesforce, Google Analytics. These are environments that are relevant in the SMB space. An enormous number of choices that's going to be growing very, very quickly. Gain access to data sets without a lot of complexity to get set up as sources, so you can have your end users who are non-technical slice and dice the data as necessary. So just a quick look at what we're doing with dashboarding and how we're making it easy to access for Power BI in this next iteration. So you also have the ability with our data management gateway, which is a part of the for pay opportunity, which I'll get to in just a second here, to connect to on-premise services in addition to the cloud services in public domain that I just showed you in some of those reports. And again, apologies for moving so quickly. Such a short period of time to show you such important stuff. Power BI Designer. So if your end users are not comfortable modeling their own reports, you can do it on their behalf either within Excel, in Power Pivot using Power Query to connect to data sources, and then templatize. If it's a vertical specific look at data that you're pulling information from a public domain, why not templatize that model in Power Pivot and offer it across your customer bases? You're not sharing proprietary data. You're just sharing connections and design that you put into these dashboards and reports that would be relevant for a demographic, a geographic, a particular vertical in the area in which you sell that could be quite relevant. This is the way you develop that unique IP that distinguishes your businesses versus others. And finally, the comparison between the two. We're going to have that free model that will have all the major capabilities of Power BI for subscribing Office 365 customers. What the $9.99 per user per month model will bring is greater capabilities to connect and refresh in more real time against sources both on-premise and in the public domain or in the cloud. There will also be some enhanced collaboration capabilities and creation capabilities, the ability to connect to Active Directory when reports and documents and work sets are actually shared. You can apply much more granular permissions utilizing the structure of Active Directory that you've already put in place. And as you catalog more data sources and design the way those sources are related to each other, you can create your own catalog that you publish for the end users to access. So this is the way we're approaching Power BI in the very near future. No date published yet. It will be in calendar year 2015, the one we're currently in. And probably coming sooner rather than later. It's going to be a freemium model with a pro option that is significantly lower cost than Power BI in the past. There will also be significantly enhanced mobile applications that allow easier access to the data for users who are in the field or on the go. And it's, as you can see there at the bottom, it's a cross-platform, not just Windows, but iOS devices, Android devices, as well as being web-based with a lot of interactivity with the capabilities of HTML5. So in looking at Power BI in its totality, we can see that coming from the bottom up, we can access all levels of complex data sources, or we can keep it quite simple and use connectors out of the box to commonly used SMB application environments like Google and Salesforce and Intuit and so forth. We can set up deep staging environments using SQL Server's capabilities, or we can keep it quite simple and just pull it into Power BI Designer or Power Pivot within Excel and create very compelling applications and dashboards that can be shared beautifully within the Office 365 subscription. I'm telling you, this has been a very, very quick description of what Power BI is. This is the means by which our partner community creates their own IP and distinguishes themselves from their competition and from Microsoft's competition. No other productivity suite out there has anything like this, nor the depth of integration with the tools that your end customers are already most familiar with, such as Excel, such as SharePoint, now a part of Office 365. Very, very compelling value proposition. So before you go, I want you to take note of that URL, www.powerbi.com. That's going to bring you to, pull up the website here for everyone to see. That's going to bring you here. In this site, you'll see there's a nice video here with an overview of what's coming. You can subscribe and get access to the tools early through download, and you'll also have access to the pricing, as you can see here, which will be distinguished and available, of course, through all of our channels, especially through distribution. Download all the applications. And last thing you need to be aware of is within Excel, you will have the ability to go into the Backstage environment, which used to be called File, choose Options and Add-ons. When you choose add-ons, you want to filter by COM add-ons, C-O-M, and make sure you enable Power Pivot, Power Query, Inquiry, as well as Power Maps and Power View. That will open up those new tabs within Excel that allow you to start playing with the Excel-based tools, and know that very soon you're going to have incredible capability to turn on new insights to data for small businesses at a very low, if not free, price point that wasn't available before. And we're the only vendor out there that has this capability. So with that, we're right at the bottom of the hour, but I will stick around for Q&A if anyone wants to take themselves off mute and pose a question to the team.
Josh, there was a question about training. I went into MPN and narrowed it down for some Power BI stuff, but are there specific tools that you would recommend for the partners to use to get better exposure and training to Power BI?
Excellent question, and it's right here in front of me. Support. So at this powerbi.microsoft.com website that I've been showing you, go to support. And this is not just product support, it's also training. As you can see here, under knowledge base, you're going to find a variety of tiles by topic, getting started, getting data, once you're in Power BI, more complex sources, but then look, you get down here, Q&A in Power BI Designer, how to create those dashboards, the different apps, such as for Windows and other platforms, administering the environment, and every one of these tiles on these topics has detailed guidance and videos on how to set it up and use it. Very, very rich training information is already here. We made certain of that right from the get-go.
Good stuff. Also, a partner asked, Power BI is not actually available in the current action pack. Do you know if it's going to be included in the future at all, or will it still be competency-driven and performance-driven?
Good question. I don't have an answer for you. I'd be surprised if we did not enable our partner community with the necessary IURs for Power BI. Very, very surprised, especially since we're moving to a freemium model. I would expect, although please don't quote me on this, I would expect that this capability will be enabled for our partners to get very familiar with, because to be honest with you, I see Power BI first and foremost as a partner-oriented tool. It is the means by which you differentiate your offering for a singular customer, across customers, or versus your competition. powerbi.microsoft.com, the main site. Sign up for the preview. You'll get access to all the tools. Go into Excel 2013. Go into the Backstage environment, choose Options, and then within Options, choose Add-ons. In Add-ons, filter on COM Add-ons, and make sure you enable all the Power tools, Power Pivot, Power View, Power Query, Inquiry, and you'll have the ability to start playing with these things right out of the gates.
Great. Partners, with any additional questions that you have, please reach to your area partner sales executives and your TS2 reps. They'll make sure that you have everything that you need in the direction of not only answering your questions, but ensuring that you have all of the resources that you need as well to grow this competency for your businesses. And with that, we'll stop the recording.
Great. Thank you, everyone.